Freedom doesn't happen to you. You make it happen for you. That's what I believe. Big changes in your life really don't come about like you see in the movies through these massive breakthroughs where you just wake up one day and your life is totally different. That happens for lottery winners in the real world, but literally that's about it. Nobody hasn't put in the work day in and day out gets the big payoff. That's how life works. You get the big payoff after you've laid the massive foundation of daily, consistent, boring wins. That, my friends, is called consistency, and that's what we're talking about today. So up to this point, you've gotten clear on your why. You've gotten clean in your life, and then you got committed. You're sticking to a path, and you've got committed, and now it's time to get consistent. See, consistency is where the magic happens. That's where the compounding happens. And if you can't be consistent in the small things in your life, in the process, then your dreams are never going to come. Plain and simple, that's the hard truth of it. What I've found and what I've seen and the people that I have witnessed be successful are the ones who continue to show up every single day. So let's break this down. These are the 3 beliefs that we're going to talk about today. Number 1 is consistency beats intensity every single time. Number 2, the person who shows up the most wins just by being there. Number 3, most things that most people fail because they quit too soon, and also they let motivation and inspiration be their guiding star instead of dedication. So let's break this down. Consistency over intensity. There are going to be times in your life where the intensity is what's going to get you to that next level. But if you really want to see big change in your life, it starts with the small things, the small actions. So it's taking the same actions day in and day out on the same schedule that's going to give you the same focus. And it's sticking with it even when you believe that nothing's working. So even with me and these videos and everything right now, sometimes I get 2 views on a video, 2 views, okay, 4 views. You're like, what the heck is going on? But I'm sticking with it because what I've seen in every other area of my life, if you stick with something, you're going to get better. You're going to learn about yourself. You're going to learn about the process. And in all that, you can take something away from it, even if the end result isn't what you think it would be or want it to be. Because there's a difference in leading indicators and lagging indicators. You can think of your lagging indicators as the results, the outputs, the things that you see. So for content creation, that's your followers, that's your views, all those things that are people chase. However, if you focus on the inputs, the leading indicators, you're going to be focusing on uploads. You're going to focus on how much time you spent creating content, how much time you spent thinking about the content and actually doing it. In sales, so you're thinking about the number of sales calls that you actually make, the amount of meetings that you actually book. You're not looking at the actual sales numbers. That's a lagging indicator. And if you're focused on that, you're going to miss the boat. Focus on the inputs, focus on the process, focus what's going to make that difference. And then the lagging indicators and the outputs are going to take care of themselves. So if you're thinking about leaving your job and you want more freedom and autonomy in your life, start focusing on the inputs. Start focusing on the time that you're dedicating towards it. Start focusing on what actions you're taking in order to make that happen each and every single day. And slowly, over time, you're going to notice you're a totally changed person. If you can stick with the same actions day in and day out over a period of 30 days, you're going to be a completely different person by the time that month is over. Okay, so that's number 1. Consistency beats intensity. 2, the person that shows up the most wins. Plain and simple. If you keep showing up, you're going to win. There's a book out there called Grit that talks about literally if you just continue to keep showing up, those are the people who are the most successful. They're the ones who continue to show up when they don't feel like it. They're not leading on inspiration and a calling. They're committed to themselves. They're dedicated to the process, and they see the world as a me versus me. That's all it is. I'm trying to get 1% better each and every single day. And I think about all the times, like the things that I've wanted to start in my life and I end up quitting on, right? Do you do this? I started taking Spanish lessons a year ago, and then life got hectic and I kind of let it drop. But I think to myself, what if I'd stuck with that, daily, weekly for the last year? How much further along would I be? If I'd stuck with my health goals, how much further along would I be? If you stuck to the plan you've created for yourself in order to create more freedom and more income to eventually step away from your job, if you stick to that for 12 months, how much further along are you going to be? I do this little exercise. Every single morning when I go out and get in my cold plunge, I don't want to do it. It's painful every single time. People say it gets easier. It literally doesn't. Not for me, especially on these cold mornings. I do not want to get in there. It's only 3 minutes, and sometimes I'll sit there like having a conversation with myself for 3 minutes before I even get in. And I'm like, dude, you could have been done already. But I picture myself in the future. Now for the cold plunge, I'm literally picturing myself just an hour later, minutes later, or definitely like 11 a.m. I'm back from the gym. I've eaten. I'm at my desk. I'm feeling good about myself, looking back on, hey, I knocked that out this morning. I did it. What if I didn't do it? What if I shut this lid and walked away right now? How disappointed am I going to feel in myself? So that's the same thing you have to do right now. How are you going to feel about yourself if you give up right now? How are you going to feel about yourself if you give up in 2 weeks, in 30 days? Are you going to be disappointed? How are you going to feel if you keep showing up? What's going to happen if you keep showing up? Nothing's guaranteed, other than I can guarantee you nothing will come of it if you give up. Okay? So know that. The one who keeps showing up is the one who wins. That's it. Lastly, most things fail because you quit too soon. And you let motivation and inspiration be your guiding light and not dedication to the process. So we all know these people, right? They're waiting on inspiration and motivation to create something, to start something, to get out there and go do something. The thing is, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to do it sick. You're going to have to do it tired. And you're definitely going to have to do it when you don't feel like it. If you're working for someone right now and you don't want to work for them, and your goal is to work for yourself, guess what? You're still going to have to do all of the things that are necessary for you to continue to feed yourself and put food on the table when you're sick, when you're tired, and when you don't feel like it. Now, if you've set up a system and a process in place, it makes that a whole lot easier. And we can talk about ways to do that. But I look back at my own real estate business, the times where I made the biggest leaps and bounds, and even times that kept me going through some really tough times, is when I followed the system. I followed the process. I said I was going to send out X amount of mail per month. I was going to send out X amount of texts per month. I was focused on those leading indicators. I had goals for my lagging indicators, how many deals I wanted to do, how much revenue I wanted to bring in. However, I put the systems in place to keep me on target. And that's what you got to do here. You know, Jerry Seinfeld talks about, to him, there's no such thing as writer's block. Because you have to accept some days your own mediocrity. You have to realize that just writing something down and getting started, it might be something that you're going to throw away, but in that process, you're going to pull some nuggets out. Showing up on those days that you don't want to and focusing on the process and the effort involved, you're going to pull out some things, and some things are going to happen to you that you don't suspect. But I can guarantee if you don't show up and you don't do it, then nothing will happen. Okay? So what's your action step for this week for getting consistent? A, you got to pick your windows where you're going to build. Pick them in your schedule. And you have to protect that time like a meeting. Protect it from your family, protect it from your hobbies, protect it from your work. You're focusing on who you want to be right now. For that window, you're going to write out your non-negotiable actions. What are those things that are going to get you to that next level? If you want to be a content creator, focus on creating the content. Don't focus on just manifesting it or thinking about it. Do it, right? That's the action. Uploads is the action. If you want to be someone who's buying a business, make it how many brokers did I reach out to? How many NDAs did I sign? How many business owners have I had conversations with? That's what you need to focus on. And you got to keep at it for 30 days. That's what we talked about. So build that window, protect it, and focus on those leading indicators, those efforts and those inputs. And the output's going to take care of itself. Because here's the thing. Consistency is going to give you momentum. Momentum is going to lead to confidence. The confidence eventually, you do it long enough, it's going to lead to the freedom that you're looking for. Think of yourself 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year from now, and don't let that person down. All right, keep going. I'm here for you. I believe in you. Let's make it happen.